Hello, hello. I'm Deborah Bucher with Deborah Bucher Designs, and I'm located in Surprise, Arizona. I have a studio, a really nice studio at Ground Floor Artist. The tissue that we're going to use today is one of my favorites, and I've done several projects with this tissue. So here is the one that we're going to do today. Let me see if I've got it in the camera. And there is another bunny rabbit on the same page that's just slightly different. This one's got cotton balls in his mouth and a wreath around him. Similar but different. And I love bunny rabbit. I just love, love, love. They just speak to me. First one that I showed you that we're going to use today, I did last year. I did it, this is a board that I got at Walmart last year, and it was super popular. Everybody wanted to know where this came from. And they still have them because I just picked up another one of those painted boards when I was in Walmart the other day. And I love the shape of this. And then I used the Pintart two-step fine line crackled glaze on it. So that's how it gets that really pretty finish with all the crackles in it. And this is one of my favorite pieces. I have this hanging on the wall in my entry when you come in. I already went ahead and base coated this one. I still have to do the bottom of it, but I base coated this one so you guys didn't have to just watch me paint and watch paint dry. I'm not sure which one of these bees I did, but they're really pretty too. I did the bee and I used the Pintart crackle on the bee. I did that last spring. So there's 2 rabbits and 2 bees. And I just love how I love the colors. I love the pink roses, the soft green, and the soft background. So I did the background on this board with Dixie Belle drop cloth. You've seen me use that a lot. It's a really nice color. It doesn't throw a yellow. It matches wood grains really, really well if you want to put it up with like a walnut or any kind of a wood grain. So this is the one I want to do. And he's not going to be quite big enough. Let me see. I need a brush and I need a thing of water. I'm going to show you the best way to cut your paper. And if you've been hanging with me for a while, you already know this. But rather than using your scissors, which gives you a straight line, and a straight line is always going to look like a straight line, where if you cut it with water and tear it, then it just plays a trick on your eye and doesn't look like it looks soft. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm just dipping, and I like to use like a watercolor brush. Let's see, there, I got it. A fat watercolor brush, because it just holds a lot of water. And I just dip it in the water and then just paint on a line. Sometimes you gotta go a couple of times and you just tear it. Okay, so I painted the background on this to match the color in the paper, and it matches pretty good. And the bunny is And I had this problem on the plaques that I showed you, that I can't get the flowers all on, but I think that's going to be okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take these flowers off down here. And I'm also going to take some voodoo stain and kind of sponge around these edges so that doesn't look so square. Okay, so this is how it's going to fit on here. Okay, here's some plastic. I like to use plastic. I also sell, this is just saran wrap. You don't want to use your hands because there's a lot of texture on your fingertips. That's why you can pick things up so easily, is all that texture. And I'm looking for, I have the blue, oh here it is. The blue squeegees are on my website. And it has a felt tip, and I like to keep it in a bag so that when you go over it, you aren't getting any decoupage medium on your felt tip, and then your squeegee lasts a lot longer for you. But I just prefer using the saran wrap. So I use Dixie Belle satin top coat. I just had somebody today talking to me about that they were using Mod Podge, and could they use the Mod Podge for a top coat on their finished projects. And it's like, I know a lot of people still use Mod Podge, and I see a lot of really good creators still using Mod Podge, but I don't recommend it because it will crack and yellow over time. And I have pieces that have cracked and yellowed. So I know what I'm saying. And this is a top coat. And it comes in satin, it comes in flat if you don't want any sheen, and it comes in a high gloss in case you want something really shiny. And you can use it for your decoupage medium, but it's the same thing that you use when you're finishing furniture. And it works perfect, and it's never going to crack and yellow. So I do a section at a time. That way I have complete control over how my paper is going down. I see a lot of people brush their medium over the whole surface, and then they hover their paper over the top of it and then lay it down. And I see people do it successfully, and I see people go, oh crap, because it didn't lay down the way they wanted it to. So this works out perfect every darn time. That's where the fold was in the paper. So I just lifted it up a little bit so that I could just go back over it and make sure I work that flat. That's another question people ask me often is, do they need to iron their paper before they decoupage? And the answer is no. When it gets wet, your decoupage paper has elasticity to it. So your paper is going to stretch when it gets wet. And then when it dries, it's going to shrink back down. So when you have a fold or something like that in your paper, when it gets wet with this medium, it's going to stretch out. And then when it dries, it's going to dry flat. It's going to shrink back down. And by going section by section like this, you see me a couple of times doing this where I just pull it right back up. Because if I see any kind of little wrinkle on there, I'll just pull it right back up and lay it back down. And then there's no wrinkle. I think right there, see, I'm pulling that piece up because there's a spot right there and I could see it and it just didn't look like it had any medium. I don't know how I could have gotten a round spot with no medium on it. And this is 18-pound paper. This is like your wrapping paper, your tissue paper when you're wrapping packages, that's 10-pound. Very thin, very fragile. This is 18-pound paper, and you know, it's a nice quality tissue paper. So I know I said I was going to use that Voodoo gel stain, but I'm sitting here while I'm doing this and I'm thinking, I think I'm going to use brown wax instead. We'll try that first. Because I want it to be subtle and I can do really nice shading with that brown wax. Let's see. I just want to pinch that off. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I'm going to take, this is all put down and it's all nice and smooth. Now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to put one coat of the satin top coat all over the whole piece because I am going to use the wax. And by doing this, anything I put on top of this design will flow and blend really nicely for me because I've got this barrier, I've got this top coat on here. And you will see when you do this, you will see bubbles come up and some wrinkles, and that's okay. It's just because you're wetting the paper again. But just like I explained, your paper has elasticity, and it's when it dries, it's going to dry flat again. And if for any reason, you know, from time to time things happen, and if for any reason when it's dry and you still see wrinkles and they're bugging you, then take some parchment paper and an iron on cotton, a really hot setting on cotton with no water in the iron, and iron it out, and put your parchment paper down on top of your decoupage piece, and with that hot iron, no water, just iron your wrinkles right out. Now, if I want to put food on this, I do need to resin it to put food on this. And the resin that I use is food safe. So, and I have two kinds of resin. Resins that I don't care whether it's food safe because it's not going to be on a piece that's going to have food on it. And then there are resins that are food safe. I'm going to bring this up closer because I want you to be able to see those wrinkles in there. So I'm holding this up here so you can see that there's bubbles and wrinkles. There weren't any bubbles or wrinkles when I laid the paper down. Those bubbles and wrinkles show up when I put a top coat on the top because I've wet the whole paper all over again. And like I said, don't freak out when you see that and think, oh man, I've ruined my project. It's not ruined. It's going to flatten back out again when it gets dry. And so we're going to do that right now. And if you guys love this paper, which I don't know how you couldn't love this paper. The bees are beautiful. The bunnies are beautiful. If you love this paper, I put the link for it to my website, both on Etsy and on my website. I put the link up in the description. And those bubbles that I showed you, they're disappearing. Yeah. And I want to show you guys while I have one handy right here. Wouldn't one of these are some really pretty wood chargers that I found at a veterans thrift store up in Pine Top. When I go up there, my girlfriends and I, we spend a day and we hit Show Low and Pine Top and Heber and Overguard and hit all the thrift stores. They have the best thrift stores you've ever seen. But I think this would be really pretty with this tissue on it. Let's just give you an example. So I'm just showing you this to give you ideas of different things that you can decoupage on. So doing this in a round circle on here would be really pretty. So just keep your eyes open when you're at thrift stores and the Goodwills. Okay, so this is a French tip brush, and I love these brushes. They last forever. You can paint with them, but my favorite thing is to use them for wax. They're pointy so you can get into tight areas, but they also, because of the shape of them, allow you to be able to blend. And so I'm using Dixie Belle brown wax. This is a 10 ounce and it comes in a 4 ounce size. And it comes in white, clear, brown, black. Seems like I'm forgetting. Oh, and a gray, a grunge gray color. And it's water-based. So the really nice thing is if you use it when you're doing furniture refinishing, you don't have to sand out your furniture. Like if you use Annie Sloan's wax, you got to strip and you got to sand down that furniture because hers is not water-based. So I want it to be, it's dark around those edges, and I want it to be darker around the rim also. So I'm putting it on the paper and around the wood on here. And then I'm going darker around the edges. And you can use the clear, like if you put on more and like there's a dark spot there, if that bothers you, you can use the clear on top of it and it'll remove that dark spot. And it's like when I look at this side and this side is a lot darker. So I'm going to use my brush to lift and lighten that up. This is because there's some of the wood, the wood is a little rougher there. So I'm just making sure that I have enough dark around the edges because that kind of like gives it a frame. Kind of draws your eye to it. Then I'm going to do a little around the edges too. Now this looks a lot nicer having that rim done on it. So I'm just going back around and just darkening this edge up. There isn't a right or wrong. You just keep working at it until you get it how you want it. And if I hadn't put that satin top coat on there, this would just grab right on here. Where this way, having the top coat on there gives me control. And I can take a wet wipe. Let me get one. So if I get too much in a place that I don't want it, you can just take a wet wipe and wipe it back. So the wax, I think, is an easy way to add accent and texture. Okay, so like that's a little too dark there. I can just soften it up with the wet wipe. And I'm liking how it's blending into the paper. I want to darken up this edge just a little bit more. Put a little on, take a little off. You just keep doing it till you get it to the way you like it. There's a lot of texture in the wood there, and it's really grabbing it. So you just keep doing it, looking at it, Add some on, wipe some off. I like how it is on the paper. I just want to darken this up a little bit more here. I like this side really well. I need to get this side to look a little more like that side. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to let it all dry, and I'll look at it tomorrow and see what it looks like, if I like it or if I need to keep working on it. Okay, you guys. So that was a pretty fast project. We've done 2 really fast projects, yesterday and today, but I think this is coming out pretty. I'm not completely happy with around the edges on it, so I'm going to sleep on it and look at it tomorrow and see what I can do. Okay, you guys, I'm going to say goodnight. Thanks so much for joining me, and mark your calendars. I go live every Tuesday and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I don't know what time that is in your time zone, but I go the same time every single week. So I hope to see you guys again, and when this is done, I'll post a picture. Have a good night.